Fiddling with stream settings. Going to Twitch, figuring this shit out. Do. Channel. No. Here we are. Edit stream info. Done. Then let's see here. Testing the audio. That sounds good. Okay, setting up the terminal. So, whoops. What the fuck was that? Sounded like someone was in my fucking house. That was weird. Okay. All right, so we're all set up there. Almost had a heart attack because I thought that was a mandatory Windows update. Okay, I think I am all set. So let's switch this over. Okay, so I am working on a simple turn-based RPG. So here's, oops, still have that breakpoint there. Here's the game. Everything here is a work in progress. Essentially, you move on a tile-based map, and you have enemies, and then you have 2 player characters at the moment with 2 different play styles. One of them is a fighter, one of them is a mage right now. And so one of the things that I wanted to work on today is the AI for the spiders is a bit wonky. For some reason, let me turn off the fog of war. These spiders in the back, for some reason, they were being alerted to the player's presence, but they weren't actually moving towards the player. So if I like move here, and then these other things have to move. Is anybody moving? What is happening? Okay, so you moved, you moved, you moved, you moved, and these 3 did nothing. Okay, so we need to debug this. This is the main thing that I want to work on today. How are we doing on stream upload? We're still good. Okay, good. So, okay, your ID is 4705. So let's check out what the hell is happening here. So, pass. Okay, so looking for 4705. $4705. Okay, step in. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, I left this note for myself because I figured it out last night. That's right. That's right. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. That was dumb. Okay, anyway. Okay. Note to self. The issue is that when we refactored the FOV system to set the target ID on the AI data, when the AI sees a player character, that means the AIs which are alerted but don't see the player are broken because the go-to enemy function requires a target. Stop bat measure to set the target ID on alert to the player character which initiated the alert. I think this is a good solution. So essentially the bug is that a AI sends out a general alert in the game that it saw the player character, but some of the enemies which are alerted to the presence of the player are out. The player is outside their sight radius. So I guess effectively, if a player character sets off an alert, we're just going to set the target ID on the AI data to that specific player. Well, that poses a problem then, because that means that all of these. So if I just run the game, is the game running? What happened? Okay. All of these spiders back here. So I think the sight radius is like 7, and so you can see that both players are more than 7 tiles away from those spiders. So if what I do is I set their target ID to the player character which initiated the alert, that's always going to be the mage player. So if I reload the level, turn the fog of war back on, you'll notice that the way the way that movement works is that you're always controlling the mage and the fighter just follows you. So the problem is that if I do the initial solution, they're just always going to be targeting the mage and they won't change their target. Well, let's double check the FOV code. So, hang on one second. Okay. So this is the FOV system. And then our callback is here. And then we say, so this is the code that sends out the alert. Where are we setting the target ID? Target ID. What's the name of the field? If it's not target ID, what is it? Let's go to... What's the name of that freaking... Hang on. Okay, let's go back to... Where's the AI data structure defined? AI component. Okay. Target entity ID. Gosh. Okay. So, okay, so this is being run. So if we got from the FOV system, we got a hit. Oh, so it's always the closest one. Okay. That's good enough for now, I suppose. So what we're going to do to fix this problem is we're going to go back down to the FOV callback, and we're going to come down. How do we do this in the most efficient manner possible? Because up here, we are putting an action on the queue in order to send out the alert. So let's go to that code. So turn actions. Here we are. Okay, so we're looping through all the entities. And if the entity has an AI component and a position component, we are getting the tile distance between these two. And if it's within the radius, alert radius that we set in the config file, then we're setting the target position, right? Setting this to false here because this field is updated via the FOV system. Okay. So all we have to do is add another thing here, which is just AI data dot target entity ID equals. I think we can cheat, actually. We're just going to say player mage ID, and then the next turn, after they move closer to you, they'll just choose whichever player character is closest to be their target. So I think we can cheat, and I think that'll fix the bug. Okay, so we need to move in here. So we want to toggle the fog of war again. So make sure this guy moves. He does. Okay. All right. So now, if I play this as if this was a normal combat scenario, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in here, and then I'm going to use lightning bolt skill, U. Okay, spin move. I'm just checking to see if this is fun, because I'm sort of hoping at some point the game becomes fun. Sort of the goal. Okay, this is... Turn the FOV back on. Oh, I only give him one of those. Okay. Well, if I'm only going to give the player one of those, it has to be more powerful. Yeah. So what I'll do is in the spin move code, I'm going to go over to skills. And I think what we're going to do is we're just going to change this. So go to definition. There's crit chance. Strength. So we're going to need this. Delete this. So we're going to get the stats of the player character. And then we're going to get the damage. We're not going to do a critical. But we're going to say we want to, since this is a special move, we kind of want to 1.2 times, and the damage has to be an integer. We want to help the player out, so let's go with ceiling. Whoops. Did not mean to do that. There. Multiply by 1.2, so 20% increase, and then do ceiling on that, and then cast that to int. Import the math functions. Math. Okay, good. So if damage is greater than 0, take damage. So we need the entity ID, and this is the user damage. Damage type is physical, then false. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so back to the game. Now again, we're going to play this like it's a normal combat scenario. Come back up here. Well, this is advantageous. I just need to add that to his default moves. I'll do that in a second. So I'm going to pass his turn and go over here. And I'm going to light this on fire. Yeah, that's too OP. One thing that I thought about yesterday was changing up the spider AI. Well, before we talk about that, let's just test the spin move. Before we do that, let's go into the configuration file. Entities, player, fighter. So jump, then spin, save that. So that should add that to the default moves. Okay, so let's go and try this out to see if our critical damage code worked. Jump in there, pass, bum 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 bum. Okay, spin. Okay, yeah, so it's better. I'm thinking I might go to 1.5. I don't know. That's a balancing problem. That's not really a coding issue. We'll care about balance. Balance is a tough thing because it all sort of has to be done all at once. You sort of figure out a base and then work off from there. It's really hard to do balance piecemeal. So let's think about the spider AI. So first of all, let's commit what we have. So, spider AI. So we can delete this now. All right, let's think about this. One of the things that I was thinking was that we roll, essentially, to say whether or not the spider webs you. And then we have a second type of spider that we introduce in a later combat arena, which rolls for an AoE. And the roll chance is higher if you have... Because eventually there's going to be 3-player characters. And the roll chance is essentially higher the denser your player formation is on the map. And I'm wondering, the thing that I'm thinking about is that too mean to the player to, like, first of all, you take, you put webs down on the floor so they can't move very fast per turn. And then you stick them in poison. I'm wondering, yeah, I'm wondering if that's just not too. You know what? Let's take it one step at a time. First of all, before we add the poison spitting spider, um, let's do a thing where we do a roll on whether or not the spiders will web the player's current position. The problem that I already foresee with this is that, so if we have 10 spiders in an encounter, and the roll chance is 5%, like it's a d20, right? Then that means that you have 10 iterations of a d20. The probability that you will roll 20 on at least one of those is like, that's a binomial distribution. I forget what it exactly is, but the probability is pretty high. So we actually want to do a contextual roll where, like, if one of them has already... Shoot. How would you do that? We would have to almost have a d20 roll once per turn for all spiders. And then only one spider. And then only one spider webs the player's location. How would you do that? How would you make it so that we would have to have some sort of variable on the game state? That seems kind of clunky. We need some sort of global variable in order to track that sort of thing. Gosh. Trying to think. What would be the best way? Because the first thing that comes to mind is we have some sort of data structure, which is like an entity team. Like you have some sort of squad data structure. And we can reuse that later because I want to add like enemy commanders to the human side to the human enemies. And then sort of your goal there is to kill the enemy commanders, and that's like a morale shock, right? And so we can store things on that data structure. Let's go with that. I don't see any reason not to do that. The only thing is that I'm going to have to add some UI stuff to the level editor. I guess we'll just break it down one step at a time. So step one is we need to add an entity team data structure. And then we need a way in the level editor to add entities to teams. And then in the level loading code, we need read that data from the level file and set it up in the game state. And then step 4 is going to be we want to refactor the enemy alert code to alert all enemies not in a radius but in the same team. To alert and team. And then step 5 will be refactor the spider AI to roll a d20 per turn to see if the player will get webbed. Okay. So we have a list of things to do. Let's just double check, because I might have already written the team thing. I don't remember. Yeah, but the team ID as a placeholder on here. And I was smart, and I added this too. Nice. Nice. Okay, so we have something to start. Do we want to go with a hash map to store the team data? Like ID to a struct? I guess that's the easiest thing to get started with. So down, 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 down. Where am I going to put this? Let's go here. So struct entity team. What are we going to put in here? Well, for now, we're going to put a union. No. Let's... I need to write the code for this. This is probably not going to stick around for long because I don't think this is right. We'll just say bool should web player. No, I guess is player webbed. Then we'll come back to this. I just need a placeholder for now. And then what is the data going to be like in the binary file? Because we have this binary file for the map data. So let's go over to our definition for that. So game map. Okay, let's see here. Trying to remember. It's been a minute since I've touched this code. How is this stored? Okay, so we have this level entity data, which represents the data for each entity that's actually in the file, the binary file. Where is that being stored? So we have this entity file. Okay. Entity file. There's an entity on the game map. Okay. Right. And that this is used to construct the data, which is in the entity manager, which is on the game state. Okay. So what we need to do, so this is the level, this is the data that is per entity on the level, and we just have an array of these. So I need a new field here, which is going to be, bump the version, and we need a new field here, which is going to be version 16, and it is going to be an integer. It is going to be team ID Okay, so that is going to be saved in the binary file now. And now we just need a way to view and set it. So if I compile and run the game, nothing should happen. So let's do that. Whoops. Nothing happened. That's what we wanted. Let's go back. Okay, so now we need to go to the level editor. So I have this sidebar with all of the entity data. Entity editing. Okay, here's the side panel. Select player characters. Add new entity. Okay, probably going to go in the entity details section. Delete button, rotate button. Direction, tile position. What is this? This is the ID, the entity ID. Inventory data stuff. All right, so let's do it here. Oh wait, no, we want it to be inside the... So if the entity we're selected in the level editor has an AI, when I have a label, which is like team ID, and I guess we need a integer input. So let's find an example of that in here. Property int. Oh yeah, I can just do this. Right. So what are the pointer? Take the address of AI data team ID for now. So the minimum is 0. Well, -1, I suppose. Nah, not 0. And the integer max, that's fine. Okay, let's try that. It's not callable using argument types. Cannot pass a const int pointer. Right, because this is a constant. Right. Yep. All right, so level editor, entity mode, click on this guy. Okay, so we now have generate tile position, direction. Why? Oh, because he doesn't have an ID. That's right. That's right. Here. Okay, so team ID. And we're just putting a -1 in there for now. So if you do that, okay. So that's all working. That's interesting. Oh, it did save. That was weird. Oh, I just selected the wrong spider. Okay. My bad. Okay, so that's working. What do we do next? Well, what we need to do is when we save the data, so if I exit, I look at this again, yeah, so we need, when we save the map data, we need to save that into the binary file. So let's go down to our save map function. Where is it? Where is the save? Save. Okay. Go through all the. We'll check through all the items to give. So we need What is the most efficient way to do this? I want to loop over all of the AIs. This is unsquared. I need to think about that. You know what? Let's just write the simplest possible thing for now, and I'll worry about performance later. So just write out what exactly I need to happen. So I need to go over all of the entities which have AIs. So T. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to go to the entity manager, and we're going to say right? So all the entities which have AIs, we're getting their entity ID. Key value. So is the value, if we loop over a hash map by key value, does that give us the value pointer? How does that work? Where's our hash map code? By key value. Data types, the front type, key, container element type. What's this template? Container element. Where's that defined? Alias. It's in the internal. Where is the internal file? No, element type. Okay. Template. Oh my gosh. You gotta be kidding me. Look at this. I don't want to. I guess it'd just be simpler, rather than going through that whole template mess. I figure it'd just be simpler to frickin' print it out. So back in the pragma message, type of data dot value. There. What do you got for me? It's taking it by value, which is bad. Okay, so we don't want to do that. We just want to do by key, and then we want to get the pointer to the component data just normally. So AI component pointer is equal to get component. Whoops. And then game state dot entity manager. Then the data dot. Actually, no. This is just. There. Okay. So if the AI data isn't null, we need to find, again, this is, I know this is an n-squared loop. I don't care at the moment. I just need to think about what, I just need to get the ideas on paper so I can improve them later. So we're going to go through all the entities in the level file. So we need to save this team ID. So if e.id is equal to entity ID, e.teamID is going to be equal to AI data dot. Okay. All right. Then, conversely, when we load the data, which is going to be, where's that function? So this function loads the binary file and then puts it into the game state here. Okay, yeah. So we just add another condition here, and we just say team ID is equal to e.team ID. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so back in the level editor, entity here, you. Entity details. Okay, set this to 4, save, close the game, rerun it, level editor, entity, click. That didn't work. Why didn't it work? Okay, so your entity ID is... Oh, because I'm an idiot. That's why it didn't work. The IDs in the binary file are different than the IDs that we're using for the entity manager, because the IDs in the entity manager are XORed with the top bits in the 32-bit integer are set to the map ID. That's right. Okay. Okay, so we have to go back to the level editor code. We need to fix this if statement. So I know we have a function, generate entity ID. So we have this function which generates the ID for the entity manager using the ID in the binary file and the map ID, and it ORs them together. Do we have a function that goes the other way? That given a generated ID from this, you can get back the file ID. I don't think we do. All right, I'm going to put that as a to-do item. And we can come back to it at the end of the stream if I have time. But it doesn't look like I'm going to. So, to-do, clean up, write generated ID to file ID function. Okay. So we just need to go back down here for now, and we're going to fix this by saying generate entity ID, e.id, and okay. So that should fix that. Run. Okay, level editor, entity, and let's go the debugger, level editor, save data. There it is. Okay. So you save. Okay, I found it. AI data. Team ID is 0. Right. Because what is the actual? It's 2561. Add to watch. So 2561. There it is. Okay. Team ID 4. Awesome. Run. Okay. So that was save, close, open. Four. Hey, look at that. Okay. So that's step whatever, I think 2 done. So now, where did I write those steps? Where did that go? Uh-oh. Here it is. Okay. All right, we did that. Done. Level loading code. We did the first part of this. Now we need to do the second part. We need to set it up in the game state. So on the entity manager, we need a hash map. This is probably going to change depending on how we query the data. But right now, I'm going to do a hash map of entity ID to... No, it's not going to work. It's going to be really slow. I think I'm going to have to go with a red-black tree. Because the problem is that when I query... So what the main thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be querying the querying whatever structure I use for like all of the entities which have a specific team ID, and that's O of n in a hash map, and it's log n in a red black tree. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to our entity manager structure. Here it is. So we need a new red black tree. Make sure we've imported it up here. Containers, red black tree. Okay. So this is entity okay, mallocator. I'm sorry, I'm rereading some of this code, older code that I wrote that you use the red black tree to remind myself how this works. Right, so we need a comparator for the tree, and then we need a ugh. So essentially we need some kind of structure, which is like this. It's going to be something like, it's going to need to have an entity ID, and it's going to need a team ID. And then we need a comparator function, which is like, hey, it takes the team ID and compares them that way. And this allows duplicates. Okay, I think that'll work. So let's move that up under here. Oh, gosh. And then we're going to need a hash map as well of the team IDs to this team ID data. This doesn't sound efficient at all. So essentially, like, if you think about it in database terms, we're building a index. If you were to think about this like this was an SQL database, we're building the red black tree is acting like an index for the data, so that we can search on it quickly. And then the hash map is the thing that's actually going to contain the data in the format that we want it. The problem is that this is just in terms of space, not very efficient, but I don't think we can worry about that right now. So let's copy this here. So this is going to be entity team tree. I don't know. Not a very good name, but it's what I got. And then, in addition, we'll have a hash map of integer to entity team. Teams. Okay. Okay. So we need to fill out this entity team assignments when we load the map. So back here, back to our so we are going to treat anything 0 and anything less than 1 as a invalid value. So we're going to say if AI data.team ID is less than 1. No, greater than 0. Duh. So entity team assignments dot insert, I think is the function. What's the function? Red, black, tree. Insert. Okay. Insert a entity team. This is going to be so it's the entity ID and the team ID. So we got the entity ID, team ID. I'm going to insert that into the table. And then we need to make sure, and then we need to say if entity teams, so we need the pointer first. So entity team pointer team data is equal to AI data.team ID in the need to put this here too. So we get the pointer to the data. If team data is null, we make the entry okay. So if the team data in the entity manager hasn't already been created, we create it, and then we add a value into the red-black tree for searching purposes, and that all seems good. Okay. Game state. Okay. So now let's test this part out. So this is in the game app file, line 531. 531. Bam. Okay. Okay. Let's delete that. Add to watch. TMID 0. TMID -1, -1, -1, -1. Come on now. Really? That can't be right. -1. Oh, I'm an idiot. Right. Unable to read process memory. Awesome. What the okay. Whatever. Okay, so let's try to see this. So we got this entry data. Did I forget to recompile? I think I did. Okay. Let's try this again. Identifier entry not found. That is so weird. Well, there's no way for me to see if this is working. Well, I guess I could just add this to the watch. Just see length 1. Okay. So that was inserted. Then let's do the same thing here. Buckets, length 0, length 0. And then we insert and we got 1. Okay, well, that seems to be working fine. Okay. So now, after we've done all of that, the next thing to do, do this part first. So let's close this, close this. Okay. Don't think we need to do anything more here. What we are going to do is let's start writing the code for this spider AI. So where did that go? Here. Okay. So the data that we have how are we going to do this? Because we're looping through all of the entities one at a time and running their AI. We need some sort of gosh, how am I going to do this? My brain is going in all sorts of different directions on how we could potentially implement this. Let's do the dumb version first. Has rolled this turn. Let's do this. So if so we need to get our current team. So game state dot entity manager dot entity teams AI data dot team ID. Actually, no, we want the pointer. So entity team pointer team data is equal to that. Okay. So we just say team ID. Da, 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 da. So we want. Where's our random functions? So min max, I guess 0 to 1. So we need to import util random. And then we need to say random 0.0, then 1.0. I guess it'd just be easier to do this. Bool. So we set this to true. Then we say greater than, this is a D20. Well, if it's per turn, it probably should be like 1 and 3. Yeah. Greater than 0.3333. Okay. Okay. So let's move that up here. If, and then call that script. What is it? It's cast web floor. Okay, so let's re-examine this. Okay, so if we rolled, this is only happening once per turn. So this, unfortunately, is not being reset, is the first bug that I see. This value is never being reset to true. Reset to false at the end of the turn. One of the things that I was trying to avoid doing is having a system which is an update function, which is run once per turn, which is specifically designed to update all the team data. I guess I don't see any other way to do it, though. Because we need something at the very end of the turn to reset this value back to false. guess there's nothing for it. All right. I'm running out of time, so let's do this as quickly as possible. So we need a system. Is there something simple that I can just copy pasta? Yeah, so you need a system which is like entity, teams, pre-update. Then we need something that's like entity teams, post. Actually, you know, pre-turn, and then post-turn, right? And then in the pre-turn stuff, move this out of here. For each game state, entity, manager, entity, teams, and we want to loop over this by key. So team ID. What are we going to say? Well, first of all, we only care about this if a team has spiders in it. So, I guess... what was the function on a red-black tree to get all the equal things? Red-black tree... Where's the freaking function call? Is tile blocked? That's what we want. Okay. Here, no. Dang it. Gosh, this is such a freaking equal range. That's what we want. Okay. Okay, so for each entity, no, team entry, entity team assignments, team ID. Okay, so this is going to get us in O of n all of the entities that which are in a team. O of log n. Okay. So this is of type entity team entry. We need the entity. Where's the entity type stored? Entity type component. Well, that's helpful. So we need the entity type component. Let's make this const reference. Okay, so entity type data get component team entry dot entity ID, and then we say if it is not null, and entity type data dot entity type equals entity type dot spider spiders equals true break. All right. So if the team has spiders, then okay. Okay. So, and then at the end, all we have to do I forgot to grab this. Entity team pointer team data equals entity teams, then team ID in. Okay. All we have to do here is just reset the value to false. Then you need to grab both of these, come down to here, entity teams post turn. So this is going to tell our compile time metaprogramming stuff to run that function at the end of every turn cycle. The problem that we have here is we don't have a pre-turn. Wait a second. I might have made this more complicated than it needed to be. So where's my drawing application? So if I think of, so we got the turn scheduler, and then we have entities on a turn scheduler, which have, you know, their turns. So this one goes, this one goes, this one goes, this one goes, this one goes. Then we're at the end. Then we loop back to do it again. We only need one thing, which is going to run here. Or it runs here. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we made this too complicated. Yeah. All we have to do is say that, grab this, delete this, rename that. Okay. So all we did there is now we have a thing that is running at the end of every turn cycle, which is going to be a manager for the team, which is going to say, did you roll? And should you web the player? Okay. So now, the final step is we have the team data. We're going to say team data dot should web. Bam. Okay. So all the code changes are done. All we need to do is write. Where is that? 1038. Okay, yes, I screwed up. It needs a thing of the same type for the comparator. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Can I complicitly divert? Right. Okay. Error. No property entity ID. 1041. Yeah, there is. It's right there. Oh, right. So team entry, it's dot value. Right. Okay. All right, so all we need to do now is to go into the, oops, wrong button. Go into the level editor. Go to here. Yeah, 4 is a good number. Then 4. Come on now. 4. Did that save? What is going on here? 4, 4. That's bugged. Yeah, there it goes. That was weird. Okay, save. All right. So now in the debugger, so this is entity line 1042. Ten 42. Okay. So it has spiders. Just happened. Awesome. Completely doesn't know what to do with it. Cool beans. Okay. Well, let's go over to the scripts and see what happens. So this should not run. Good, because it only should be run if we've alerted them. So let's go over here. Boom. Okay. Now, should web. All right, so the player so freaking close. Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot to remove this. That was the only issue. So close the game. Recompile. Rerun. Get rid of that breakpoint. Two in a row at a 33% chance is kind of high. Let's try that again. Little suspicious. Okay, so we're 3 for 3. Probability of that is like... Yeah, okay, something's busted with the... Oh, I know what's busted. Less than. Less than. Okay, so now we come over here. They see me. Not... Okay, something's busted still, but with the probabilities in the rolling. But I am out of time. So, I got a lot done, though, in terms of refactoring the Spider AI to actually... So now it's all working in concert with all of the other spiders. I know that sort of breaks continuity of the world because technically speaking, they shouldn't be able to communicate, to coordinate, because, well, they're spiders. But it's more fun this way. Because it's annoying if you're constantly in area denial attacks. It's more fun if... I don't know if I want it to be purely random, but it should be weighted in favor of the player. But that's something to cover on another stream. All right. That's all I have time for. Stream's done.